Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another fantastic episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one, I am your host. Sorry, I'm so accustomed to having two people here. I am your host, that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching. Where's he going next? Nobody knows. Three continents down, three more to go. The worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about me. No, you see, tonight we have a special guest, not just a special guest, a remarkable woman. This woman is actually a U.S. Navy veteran. That's right. She's a fellow shipmate of mine. You for those of y'all that know, your boy Remy Blue, he did some time in the Navy as well too. But she's actually our guest is actually a U.S. Navy veteran who is now making a name for herself in the DMV area, doing, commentary and interviews for places like Next Up Level Pro, and also Pro Wrestling Magic and Pro Wrestling Vibe, and even one of the most popular women's promotions in, I would say, the whole of professional wrestling, Capital Championship Wrestling. That's right, our good friends, CCW. Shout out to Marcello and them. Everybody, welcome to the show, Savannah Rae. Savannah, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. You've been on our radar for a while, and it feels great to finally, have our schedules not clash so that we can have you on here and we can talk about some good old wrestling and your career and all the great things you've been doing and so on.
Yes, I know it's like been a lot of back and forth trying to get our schedules aligned to get me on here. But finally I'm here.
Yeah, it's really great. So, you're in the DMV area. How's everything over there? How's the weather and everything, over there?
So actually I'm in the Hampton Roads area. I still stayed, well, I'm in Newport News, so I stayed in the area after I got out of the Navy, because I work as a contractor. But it's, I mean, it was raining today, so like the weather here, it's like been on and off.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, we had some rainy weather up here too. I guess it's that time for America because we had some rain over here, and then when I went over to Seattle, it was pretty much the same weather as New York. So I guess it's that
Mhm.
time of the year for all of America to get its share of rain and everything.
Yeah.
So first off, I just gotta say, thank you very much for serving. I know it wasn't easy. Um, I know you had to put in a lot into it, but you made it, and now you can definitely proudly call yourself a U.S. Navy veteran. Um, I think you and I may have served at the same time, or 'cause I remember you were in the NWUs, the blue uniform.
Yeah. Well, so when I went through basic training, like I went through boot camp, I was still in the utilities. And then when I went got to A school in Meridian, we were the last class to have the summer whites and Johnny Cashes because the division right after us in boot camp were the one they phased the peanut butters in. So when I got to my first ship, that was when they started phasing the blue NWUs in.
Okay, okay. So what were your thoughts when you started, first off, you were probably in way before I was then because I joined in 2014, almost 9 years ago, when they were still rocking uh the digital the the NWUs.
Yeah, the blue ones. Yeah.
I got out when they switched from the N-dubs to now they have the green ones, which are like N-dubs, but they call them the Type Threes. They're pretty much the same thing as the blue uniform, but they're green. So you must have been in like way before I, because when I hear Johnny Cash, I'm thinking I'm not trying to put you out there. You know, I'm thinking like early 2010s. maybe late
Uh,
2000.
2008 was when, so I graduated high school in June, and then I shipped out September 23rd, 2008.
Okay, wow. That's yeah, that was 6 years before I joined. So yeah, so what were your thoughts when you first saw those when you first saw those like the new end ups? Were you like, yo, those are cool? Or were you like, okay, can't we just stick to the Johnny Cashes?
No, like I wanted the NWUs because like with the utilities, you had to keep them ironed, um, because you know they'll say something like especially when they do uniform inspections. Then me as a ship serviceman working in laundry, I had access to the press decks, so I was able to keep my uniforms creased and stuff. But once we got to through the NWUs, I really didn't have to worry about it. Um, and they had that rumor where because like I guess it was a joke because they were blue. So there was that joke like if you fall overboard on the ship, like it they had like this special dye where it turned the uniform orange or whatever. But the only thing I hated about the uniform was that it faded too quickly, especially like when you have to wash it.
Okay, wow. I never heard that rumor before. I heard the one where people were concerned that they were like, okay, we're wearing a blue uniform and we're on ships. What if we fall overboard? How are they going to be able to rescue us or see us if we're camouflaging in the ocean? So that's one I heard of a couple of times. I never heard about the orange, about the suit turning orange or anything if you go overboard, about the uniform going orange if you go overboard.
Yeah, and then I mean mostly on deployments, like the three deployments that yeah, two and a half, three ish. Mostly I stayed in coveralls. So the only time that I wore it really was when I had to stay on duty.
Okay. Wow, okay. That's yeah, I tell you those. So you were on a ship. Wow, that's cool. I always wanted to go on a ship, but they put me on shore. They had me my first duty station was actually in Japan. I lucked out on that one. And I didn't even want to go at first. I wanted to stay in California, but they were like, "Nope, orders are processed, orders are orders. You got to go to Japan for the next 3 years." So I'm like, I always wanted to go, but I didn't want to stay there. So I'm like, I'll go. And then I ended up enjoying it. There were some things that were kind of annoying, some cons to it, but I enjoyed it for the most part. And then I went over to North Carolina, Jacksonville, North Carolina, the other Jacksonville, which if you're it's not too country, but it's not city at all. It's like in the
Hmm.
middle. So that was my naval career pretty much. And yeah, it was some pretty good times. I mean, you were on a ship though, man. I'm sure you guys see a lot of cool stuff, man. I mean, you know, maybe Europe, maybe Asia, maybe Middle East.
So I was on three ships. I did two carriers. I got to USS George H.W. Bush 2 weeks after I got commissioned. So I was on the maiden deployment for that ship, and we did the Mediterranean and the Middle East. And I volunteered. Um, there was a point in time um, that they had to split the Eisenhower's deployment in half. They had to bring the ship back to Norfolk to do some repair work and then send it out. But I volunteered to do the second half of that deployment. And then my last ship was a destroyer. So I stayed in Norfolk the whole time, and we stayed in the Mediterranean and Europe and did Dubai and Bahrain.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I always wanted to go on a carrier, but they never put me on one. So um, I'm like, okay, it's whatever. I'm just glad that I served, and I'm just grateful
Yeah.
for what I have with being in Japan and so on. Not a lot of people can say that they've gotten to go to Japan, and looking back at it now, it's the airline tickets to go there are pretty expensive. So to actually get
Mhm.
to live there, to experience it on the government's dime, that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
But enough about me now. So tell us, man, like how did you become a fan of professional wrestling? What was the match or the event that you saw that got you hooked?
So when I was little, my uncle actually got me into wrestling. He was a huge Sting fan. So I would be kind of forced to watch WCW. Just so that's how I knew about Sting. Then kind of fell off a little bit. And then 2012, I was in the Navy barracks on base, and I was flipping through the TV and came across it was either Raw or SmackDown, but it was the AJ Lee, Brian or Daniel Bryan and CM Punk love triangle storyline. So in a way, AJ Lee brought me back into becoming a fan again. And then toward the end of that year, tribute to the troops came to Norfolk. So when they did all the meet and greets and all the Navy exchanges, I was going from the Norfolk Navy Exchange to Oceana, to Little Creek. They came to the PPV barracks, and then I got floor seats to the tribute to the troops show.
Wow, you're lucky, man. I never got the chance to actually experience that. Um, I think the closest they may have came to where I was in the Navy was Yokosuka, which is like the main place in Japan, like the main base in Japan. I was all the way in little old Sasebo, which is a great base. Don't get me wrong. It's like a family there. Like everybody knows everybody,
Mhm.
which could be good and bad. But um, yeah, that you're so lucky that you got to experience that. That must have been like, what was it like for you? What was it like to actually see these men and women that you see on TV every day, live and in person?
I mean, it was awesome. I remember like being in the where the barracks where they visit. Natalia actually came up to me and she introduced herself to me, and like she was so sweet. And John Cena was there. Kane, I think the Miz was there. But meeting everybody up and close, like in that aspect, was pretty cool.
Okay, wow, that was pretty cool. I always wanted to meet Natalia. Natalia is one of the is a member of one of my favorite wrestling families, the Hart family, and I would have loved to actually hopefully I still get the chance to. We've actually had her cousin Mike the Match Hart on our show a couple seasons ago, but hopefully I get to actually meet her. I've met Brett too, like years ago, like almost a decade ago. But that was cool. That was pretty cool. So you're meeting these men and women. You're cheering your favorites. You're um going to the shows and everything. Now how did your journey? Well, before that, um, when you got back into it, were you into like the indies or were you just into WWE?
I was just into WWE. It primarily because of AJ Lee.
Okay, yeah, AJ Lee was a she was definitely I always say this, and I'm probably gonna have people try to say no, I'm wrong, but she was one of the leaders of the women's revolution. I always say
No,
that.
I agree with you 100%.
To me, there were like two of them, two leaders. Everybody else was like just was following, and that was AJ Lee and Paige.
Mhm.
They led that revolution. I may be missing somebody else, and for those of y'all that had that think I'm missing somebody else, correct me if I'm wrong. But I know the Bellas have been outspoken. Yes, I see that. But to me, the real people that set the two people that set the bar to show that they're more than just swimsuit models. They don't have to pose weekly in bikinis just to get ahead. Were definitely Paige and AJ Lee. And
I would throw Caitlyn in as well because the Caitlyn AJ Lee when AJ Lee won the Divas Championship, that was a turning point.
oh yeah, definitely. And in all honesty, I never really liked the Divas era, but it wasn't because of the women, but it was just that I just feel like there was more there was more that they could do in the ring, and they weren't letting them do it. Don't get me wrong, they had a lot of great women there. There was like Maurice and Michelle McCool and so on. You had people like Tyron Terrell. You had Christy Hemme who was trying a thing, but it's just that they weren't letting them, you know, like reach like break through the ceiling. So yeah, that was that. AJ Lee and Paige, they definitely set the bar, and they definitely opened that door, and for women to you know go to WB and be like, hey, you know, I may not be a swimsuit model, but I can definitely put on a hell of a show.
Mhm.
So, my so now that so now that you're a fan and everything, how did your journey go from Savannah Rae wrestling fan to now Savannah Rae commentator, and I mean no sarcasm whatsoever when I say this,
Mhm.
commentator and interviewer of of many promotions in DM. Probably, I'd say one of DMV's best interviewers and commentators.
Um, so randomly found this wrestling school in Hampton Roads. So I was actually at one point training to do in ring. Um, but I had to take a step back to deal with the transition out of the military. Um, try to get everything stabilized. Um, and then um, so went from one school to another school, and then like I really had to take a step back to focus on my mental health. Because as a veteran, um, that the transition from military to civilian life is hard.
Yeah,
Um,
trust me,
yeah. So yeah, I
I
mean yeah, it really hit me hard. Um, so during that time period, that was when I started paying attention to the indies more, especially the people that I trained with in the area, Billy Dixon, Elijah Friday. They were still on the indies, so I was paying attention to the indies to pay attention to them and their journey. Um, recently, I think, yeah, it was about a couple of years ago. Um, randomly, there's when Twitter Spaces was popular. They had the whole Faye Jackson trial thing, and that kind of brought me back in a little bit. Um, and then I was scrolling through my Instagram, randomly came across Wrestling Republic, who they were seeking writers. I have a journalism background, currently in school in journalism. Um, I'm going to start, just became a student at Full Sail. So I start my classes in April to finish up my degree. Um, and I was a sports editor in high school. So got in contact with Wrestling Republic, sent them a few of my samples, became a writer. So I was writing from for about a year. Um, and then at the same time, I was trying to get into broadcasting. but no, I didn't really know how to break in. So, especially in the Virginia area, the indie scene kind of quieted down until Next Up Pro was starting up, and I messaged the owners, and I was like, "Hey, do y'all need a backstage interviewer? I'll go ahead and volunteer for it." And that's pretty much how I got started. But I didn't really make my actual debut until Pro Wrestling Magic in New Jersey, which originally I asked them if I could shadow them, but I wasn't expecting to actually do the interviews. So, I mean, I give all credit to Rob, who also does the backstage interviews, and the promoters that really helped me break in. Rob from
Awesome.
Bob Culture Podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're not so you don't just do stuff in DMV. You're also in New Jersey as well too. That's cool. That's awesome. You just hopefully you get a chance to you know show your skills here in New York and Philly and everywhere, and eventually you become a household name, and and so on. I'm definitely hoping for that for you. So in regards to the wrestling, have you ever thought about stepping back in the ring, giving it another shot, or are you like, nah, I'm done. I'm just gonna stick to this side of the wheel of pro wrestling, which is commentating and journalism and so on.
I mean, I normally go back and forth with the idea of going back in ring. Um, but I mean, I'm for right now, I'm happy with the path that I'm on right now. Maybe I could do a little bit of being a manager um, once I get um, my mic skills, like I get more confident because I'm still fairly new. Um, at the same time, I don't want to step on anybody else's toes when it comes to doing backstage interviews at different promotions. So it's just mostly this first year, I've just mostly been putting the miles in, trying to go from promotion to promotion to get my name out, and it just working on my craft this first year.
That's cool. That's cool. But so you've only been at it for a year?
I started um, doing the backstage interviews. I think my first Pro Wrestling Magic, it was either September or October, was when I first started. And then,
Okay, that's
yeah, so and then Fight Club, I helped a little bit with Fight Club in DC, well, now Maryland. And then, so, I mean, I've pretty much Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey have mostly been my target states.
that's cool. That's cool. Honestly speaking, in such a short time, you've done so well because I mean, now you're actually a commentator, and I was able. That's right. I actually met you at this promotion. You're actually a commentator, not commentator. You're actually an interviewer for Capital Championship Wrestling, which in my opinion is blowing up. And I'm
Hmm.
not just saying that because we're actually a constant sponsor of theirs, but I've seen their growth from the time they started, and they have hit the ground running, and they are just getting better and better and better. Every time they have another show, my jaw drops. I'm like, they got that person on their show. They're doing that event. Like, how stoked are you for the first ever Capital Battle Royal or Capital
I'm
Rumble?
stoked because my girl Avery Jackson's in it. That she's somebody from the school I'm at in this area, and I kept pinging Marcello, hey, you need to bring her up. Like I'm showing him like all of the two matches that she had so far at Next Up. Um, so I'm very excited for her journey with CCW.
Well, I could tell you right now that I don't know if you know, but we actually had her on our show last
Mhm.
month, or yeah, actually it was last month, February, and she's also a fellow shipmate too.
Mhm.
And honestly speaking, you're probably gonna laugh. I thought she was like 17, 18 years or barely 18 years old. I was thinking, oh geez, like should I get this girl's parents' permission to be on the show or whatnot? Girl tells me her age, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. She told me she was a baby and everything. I'm like, wow, okay. Caught me off guard. Whatever she's doing, it's work. She looks great because I would have thought she was an underage kid. I was like, man, should I talk to her mom and dad and see if it's okay? And grown woman, but I gotta say, the fact that you did that says a lot about you. You got an eye for talent because I could tell you when I saw that girl, that woman in the ring, once again, my mouth was like this, and I was the timekeeper. And after her match, Marcello was sitting right next to me, like one person down from me, and I was like, "Hey, yo, Marcello, you see that girl Avery Jacks? You gotta keep her right there. She's fire." And she was very impressive, and I know she's gonna kill it again at the next one at the Battle Royal. So I'm actually kind of jealous of y'all because I'm not gonna be able to make it March 11th because I don't know how to get to Houston from here. I know how to get to Wilmington, Delaware, which is by Greyhound, but to get from Wilmington to Houston, I do not know how to get there without spending a ton of money, like over $100 just to get to Houston. So if you know any route, let me know. But Westville was pretty good because Westville was like, okay, oh, that's near Philadelphia. Take a Greyhound bus to Philadelphia and then an Uber, $25 Uber from there or Lyft from Philadelphia to Westville, and I'm good. That was
Mhm.
simple. For some reason, Houston, and this is no offense to anybody that lives in Houston, I don't know how to make heads or tails to get to there. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna sit that one out. But if
Mhm.
y'all keep going to Westville, y'all gonna keep seeing me in Westville or near
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. This show I will actually won't be there because it's my son's birthday party. So I'll
Happy
be
birthday to your
at
son.
I think yeah, thank you. So I'll be at the April show.
Okay, awesome. That's great. I gotta say, CCW, I got a very strong team. First Marcello's putting the whole thing together. They got you, they got Rosaria down there, and then on the commentaries. I mean, obviously, there's the roster, which is tremendous, and then you got the referees. You got Nick Shin, who is a cool guy. I've met him several times, and then you know if you listen to it on title match, you got Alyssa Marino, who I still have to get on this show, and I definitely want to eat some cereal with, and um, one of the most hardworking women in podcasting, professional wrestling, in pro wrestling podcasting, Ella J. Y'all have a very strong team. I just gotta say, y'all keep up the great work. Y'all got a fan in me for pretty much forever because y'all just keep killing it every time. And hopefully it gets to the point where y'all get to travel to more places. You know, um, of course, how your home base is in Delaware, but you get to go to more places like um, Philly, Westville, and so on, just to get y'all brand out there
Hmm.
in person. You know, so um, I just got a couple more questions because I know it's late. You got things to do. So my um, one of my last questions um in regards to and by the way I really and truly so okay how do I put this? I was gonna say that first off, you'd make a great manager. I could definitely see you in like a boss lady, Griselda Blanco like thing. You know, you got like I don't know if you remember the Heenan family. You
Hmm.
got the Savannah family or the Savannah sorority or something. I could see some catchy name, you know. And you just have like your whole little squad of females right there. Um or guys, either one. I could definitely see you doing that. Um if you could manage 5 people, whether it's a tag team or a singles wrestler, um oh, and we all actually have somebody that's listening in. I believe this is Dennis Wade. Dennis, I'm
Hmm.
sorry if I'm not sure. For some reason, StreamYard does not show the face. Gotta be Dennis. It's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
Dennis.
Dennis. It's
You
Dennis.
just mentioned Dennis. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
man. For some reason, StreamYard never shows who is commenting from Facebook. But thank you for joining. If it's you. So, who would your top 5 people be to
I mean,
manage?
to be honest, I want to keep it in the family. The people that I actually came up with, Billy Dixon, Elijah Friday, Gabriel Kai. Um, yeah, I gotta get two more. Erica Lee and
Okay.
got throw a wild card in. Um, we have another up and coming person from Virginia, Victor Walker. That's up and coming. Just throw him in.
Oh man. Billy Dixon, that guy, that's a wild guy. That guy does. I've seen that guy in the hardcore matches. He does not play. Um, Dennis wants to know what about the front line?
I mean, possibly, who knows?
Yeah, but Erica Lee, winner of last year's ECW Super 8 tournament, that's a pretty good name
Mhm.
as well. That's a pretty good person to manage as well too. That would be awesome. And you know what? I definitely hope, if not a wrestler, I definitely hope you consider becoming a manager. I'll definitely be cheering you on, as well too. 'Cause I like to see people like work hard and get rewarded. It's a great feeling I like to see, and I never hate on nobody that works hard and gets rewarded because it's like you're angry at somebody for getting a gift that they deserve. I can never do that. So, best believe if I see you managing, I'll definitely be cheering you on. I'm like, yeah, I'll probably even buy some merch, man. Like, yeah, oh, you got that merch? Okay, run that Savannah Ray merch, man. You know what I'm saying? You know. So,
And then, well, sorry, like, and speaking on that note, I want to give a shout out to, because over the past couple of weekends, we've had, it's our last show with Pro Wrestling Vibe ended in DC. So pretty much wrestling in DC is kind of on a hiatus. But I just want to shout out all the talent in that area. Um, Pure Ignorance, um, Trisha Dora, the current Chocolate City champion, and Dino. You have all this talent in the area, that deserves to get noticed. I feel like the Northeast, where Beyond Wrestling Open is, like, I feel like those names deserve to be part of the conversation up there, um, including people like the Goons, like Killian McMurphy, um, like everybody from the Goons. So, I mean, the where we're at right now, like, we have people that have a gift and that are talented and they deserve to be on television.
and that's why I'm glad that AEW is doing the thing with Dark because AEW Dark, it I always tell people, yeah, some people don't like it. Some people say they don't think it makes sense because it's on YouTube. You never know who's watching stuff on YouTube. Most of the time watching stuff on YouTube. It's a bit of a morale booster because you and I both know 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, there was only one big company in the game that was WWE. And you pretty much if you unless you were one of those people that didn't care to go to WWE, WWE was pretty much like the end all be all. Let's be honest.
Mhm.
Now AEW comes along and they have Dark, and now people are able to showcase their talents on AEW. So you'll be able to see people like Erica Lee, Trisha Dora, who's been on there before, Pure Ignorance, who I haven't seen on there yet, um, and so on and so on. Get that opportunity for exposure. So that's a great thing for them too as well. Um, and you mentioned Trisha Dora. I think she's definitely gonna be. It's only a matter of time until she gets signed by somebody, if she's not signed already. But I think it's only a matter of time. Homegirl can definitely work. But
And then I actually, with Trish, because she's a fellow Army veteran, like, she actually, I think she was kind of, I had a conversation with her, I picked her brain, you know, um, how to um, go into the business as a, female veteran, to have a platform and stuff. And like the best advice that she gave me was to just go out there and do it. And, that's what I've been doing this whole time.
okay, so would it be safe to say that that would be the same advice you would give a fellow veteran who is looking to get into the business that just got out of the service?
I would say so because I don't want to speak for all veterans. I know for me, it's been kind of like a therapy thing, so to speak, like a kind of a healing thing. Um, so I mean, yeah, I mean that would be the best advice I would give to a fellow veteran.
Awesome, awesome. So I just got two more questions. But you said that there was something going on with wrestling in DC. Is there? Because I know that there was. I saw something on Facebook. And like I said, I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm not. And y'all, please don't quote me on this. This is just something I saw. For those of y'all watching and listening, don't quote me on this. This is just something I saw on Facebook. But apparently, I saw that there was something going on in the DMV area or Maryland with the I think it's Maryland with the athletic commission and something with wrestling of them.
Um, yeah, it's DC, but I mean, pretty much any state that has an athletic commission, you're going to have some problems, and that
Okay.
mostly it's financial.
Mm. Yeah, these athletic commissions, they could be a pain sometimes. I now see why some people do. To me, like I now see why a lot of people do shows in Jersey because some of these places it's just. I mean, it's good and bad, but
Mhm.
some of the regulations that they have are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I see why they go to places like Jersey and I believe even Philadelphia and so on to hold shows because they don't have to put up with whatever the state that they're actually based in um, is doing. So
Mhm.
I just got two more questions.
Mhm.
My second to last question is: I've seen you've been working out in the gym. I'm gonna put one business out there because you put it on Twitter. I see you've been working out in the gym. You've been doing your thing. Keep it up. You're doing great. You're doing better than me because I gotta start getting back in the gym for more than like 30 minutes. But you're doing great. I see you. And I gotta ask you, whenever you work, when I work out, I got music playing in my ears. What are some songs that get you into the zone to knock out those reps, or knock out that cardio?
So cardio, I listen to EDM.
Okay.
Strictly EDM for cardio. And then like when I do my heavy lifting, I would go. It depends. Like I can go Kevin Gates, Young Dolph, or um, Ram, Ramstein is a band that I mostly listen to when I'm doing heavy lifting.
Oh, that's the German death metal band, right?
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
Hmm.
EDM. So would Steve Aoki be considered EDM or no?
Yeah. Yeah, he would.
Ooh, all right.
So
So
he's on my playlist. Him, Martin Garrix, Armin van Buren.
so
So
I um
I'm a huge house music fan.
okay. Hey, there's a lot of good house music out there. Like there's a song called that I used to when I was working out in Japan. I always had this song on on my playlist. It was called "Rage the Night Away." I think that's what it was called. It was Steve Aoki and Waka Flocka.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
when I first heard that song, I was like, "Yo, this is my new gym jam. I'm gonna play this sucker." And I was like, whenever that song would come out, I would just go hard at whatever workout I was doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was cool. My playlist is like it could range. It could be like, okay, I got Steve Aoki playing, but all of a sudden I got Eminem to like collapse playing, and then I got some
Mhm.
broken down Seven Dust, and then I got um Carly Rae Jepsen playing, and then I got some pro wrestlers theme like playing. Like I like one theme I had playing for the longest time was the Bullet Club's like the GOD's Bullet Club theme.
Mhm.
I forget what it's called, but it's like you hear the person saying the God has landed, and then you hear like a gun like being cracked, and then you hear a
Mhm.
gunshot, and you hear this it goes I know it is ain't nobody better than gorillas. That's what they're saying,
Yeah.
and that was that's a jam that I had too. So yeah, my playlist it's crazy. Like so, my last question is, um, in 5 years, where do you see yourself in pro wrestling?
Um, I would say still doing broadcasting. Um, I don't want to. I mean, it would be nice to be on WWE, but if I could settle for somewhere, probably Ring of Honor or Impact, maybe even GCW, I'll be okay with that. Um, but at the same time, with my journalism career, I'm also looking at the outside perspective. And I do have a mentor that's a news reporter in San Diego that's helping me put a highlight reel together to feed to like all these news stations. So, just in case if nothing in wrestling works out, I still have another outlet possibly.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I just gotta say, I hope both work out for you. You know, who knows? Maybe we could see you as a news anchor and as a backstage interview for wrestling.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
Yeah, like
cool.
Charlie Caruso.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, honestly, I definitely hope all that works out for you. If I ever see you on WB, best believe I'll be screaming at the top of my lungs, calling Rob Bass and Kathy Knight, Rob, Kathy, and also our other friend Chris Alini, Chris
Yep.
Cartwright, um who was actually excited when he saw you were on the show. He was like, yeah, he and I go way back. I don't know if you know, he and I go way back. I'm talking like 10, 11, I think 12 years now, actually. Really
Mhm.
cool guy. If you ever get to meet him in person, like we hung out a lot. Anytime I go to Florida, he's one of the people I definitely gotta meet up with. And
Yeah.
sometimes we go to a club, sometimes we go to the arcade or something. Really cool guy. But best believe if I see you on WB, I'll definitely be like, yes, she did it. Let me get that bottle. Let me get that Coke. I'm gonna have a drink for my homegirl Savannah Rae. She made it. Sue. I'm crazy like that, man. Like I feel happy for people who succeed in my own self. I mean, I'm happy for my success, but like when I get it. But I like this. Like I said, I'm just happy for people when they work hard and they, succeed. That's just that. I know it sounds weird. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
You should have seen me. You should have seen me when people picked up rank in the Navy. I was like, "Yo, you did it, man! Yo, high
Yeah.
five!" Yeah, I almost high five the chief one time, but I was like, "No, don't do that. No, that's no, don't do that. Calm down." But yeah, but I just gotta say, Savannah, on behalf of myself and my two co-hosts, Kathy Nat and Rob Bass, who couldn't be here, and also Chris Cartwright, who's actually our Facebook admin. Uh, I just gotta say, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule, especially at this hour, to actually appear on our show and shoot the breeze about wrestling and your career and so on. We really and truly are grateful. We're very grateful for it, and we wish you nothing but the absolute best in pro wrestling and even in the news. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully get you on the. Hopefully, we get see you on as a news anchor as well too. And wish you nothing. Sending nothing but positive vibes your way, and wish you nothing but greatness and so on. And before we actually, shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out where your next appearances, purchase, Savannah Ray merchandise? And where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
So I'm still working on the merchandise part. um, so my Twitter, I'm mostly on Twitter, Savannah RG513 because I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Um, and I'm on Instagram as well, but I'm mostly on Twitter. And then I gotta plug this. So WrestleMania weekend, I won't be in LA, but I'll be at Chicago Comic Con with Katrina Storm, who is the host of In Cat We Trust. I'll be on a women of color and wrestling panel for the C2E2, the Chicago Comic Con, and our panel will be April 2nd.
That's with Stephanie Hardy, right?
Yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, but I don't think she's gonna be on this panel.
And that young lady is so amazing. I really hope she's another one. I hope gets successful. Like I said,
Yeah.
if I was ever Vince McMahon or Tony Khan, I would definitely book her because she has that unique look and that vibe that she brings.
Hmm.
And very cool individual. I was another great person. I was blessed. We were blessed to have on our show. Stephanie, if you hear this, we wish you all the best too as well. Cheering for you as well too. By the way, Savannah, you ever heard of the Black Wrestle Fest?
Yes, I will be there.
Awesome. I almost forgot to guess. June 17th, man. I'm gonna definitely make sure I take that day off just to be there. Just to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So once again, wish you all the best and thank you. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for, a late night snack and a nap. Maybe not in that order, but before I indulge in those activities, for those of you watching and listening, if y'all want to find me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue as well. Um, our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group. We're also on Spotify, and we also have a Teespring store. We sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have tank tops, we have long sleeve shirts, we even have hoodies as well too. And we also have pillows and coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. So, check us out, check out our store, cop some merch. All proceeds go back into keeping our show afloat. And as a matter of fact, it's officially the month of March. And what's in March? St. Patrick's Day. And we have the Ringside Society St. Patrick's Day merch for y'all that are celebrating this year. Definitely check us out. You will not be disappointed. And with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in live tonight. We really and truly appreciate it. Thank you very much. We strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could and should listen to. And to those of y'all that are going to listen later on, we get a chance. Thank you very much in advance. And for those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at a Golden Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. But with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So I'm going to say it one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for CCW, and one time, oh, well, I gotta say it one time for ESPW, where you'll be making your debut, and one time for one of the best commentators, interviewers, and also my sister in arms, Savannah Rae. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, and we'll be back next week with another. As a matter of no, not next week. Actually, it's going to be later on today, which is already Friday, with another impressive guest on another impressive host. I'm sorry, on another impressive episode. But until then, we just want y'all to do four favors for us: stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.